The first year of a baby's life is an important time to develop a strong parental bond. In a recent study, babies who were securely attached to their mothers at 12 months were more likely in their 20s to come out of an argument still feeling connected to their partner. The March issue of American Baby magazine has some helpful tips on how to bond with your baby. And earlier this week, I spoke with the magazine's executive editor, Kalehoff. So, we talked about how something that happens at 12 months can impact their lives forever. I mean, not just their relationships with their partners, but maybe their bosses. It helps them negotiate arguments and probably a host of other things. Yes. Just figuring out how to bond with your baby. But sometimes, when they're really little, you look at them, they don't often react the way you want them to. They're quite often crying, and you think, is any of this stuff working? Are you taking this in?
Right, and that study is evidence that it actually is.
Right.
Years from now, it's going to impact those future relationships. So, and the good news is that really both of you are hardwired to connect. It's something that comes naturally to both of you, more natural than you might expect before you have kids. So.
Now, you break it down by months.
Yes.
In the beginning, they can't really see all that well, so I imagine other senses must really help to kick in.
Right. Well, one thing is that you want to engage them close up with FaceTime at a distance that they can see, which is about that 10 to 12 inches away from you. And really, newborns like to communicate in a way that sort of puts them in control. They like to elicit a little response from you. Okay. So if you're responding with smiles and happy faces and funny faces and good response, then they're feeling connected. So that FaceTime is important early on.
And the cuddling doesn't just make you feel good, they're getting a lot of it as well.
They are.
Right.
It's a really happy cycle. When you're cuddling, your body is releasing that oxytocin, which is calming you and making you feel even more protective and bonded to your baby. And onward the cycle continues. The more you cuddle, the more you want to cuddle and protect your baby. So snuggling, nursing, carrying your baby in a carrier when you're able to are all good things.
So that's sort of the first 3 months. As we move on, they are a little more sturdy. They can sit up on their own maybe. They can recognize the difference between the attention of a stranger versus the attention of their parents. How might you change your interaction to keep that bond going?
Well, you want to pay attention to whatever they're paying attention to. At this age, a baby who's fairly securely attached will be feeling freer to explore around him. So he'll be picking up toys. He'll be sort of wanting to show you things, maybe looking at something purposefully so that you'll look at it too. So you want to stay tuned for those kind of hints and respond to them.
Right, and then a little further on, now maybe they can waddle around. It's a nervous time for parents. It's much nicer when they're in that 4 to 8 month stage. They're like a potted plant. You just sit them down and they don't go anywhere. They can't get into trouble. But then they start to crawl and waddle around, and they still need you though.
They do. In fact, around about 8 to 9 months is when that separation anxiety peaks.
Right.
And that's because the baby can remember that you're in the other room when you've left. When you've left him, he remembers you there and he knows that you're not there anymore.
I think that surprises a lot of parents because you go on for several months and the child is fine when you walk out of the room, and suddenly now you're dealing with a meltdown that you never had to deal with before.
Yes, yes, those tears, we all remember that period. So basically you want to be consistent, and if you say you're just going to be back in a minute, make sure it's really a minute, or don't say it's a minute if it's more than a minute.
Right.
Consistent cues are key at this time, really, to
ease that separation anxiety.
Yeah.
I guess you're teaching them that you will come back eventually and they'll be okay without you.
Exactly. So that's what you want to show. Consistency is key.
But they still need to spend time with you.
Right. Absolutely.
Can't just say, hey, I'll be back, kid.
Bye.
Watch TV.
You want to definitely continue to talk to them, continue to engage them. A baby knows when you're busy with household tasks, folding laundry or whatever, yet still engaged with them by talking to them, versus just planting them somewhere and ignoring them. You want to make an effort to include them in your daily life. Your baby's going to be here for years and years, so you need to find a way to work him into your life rather than trying to get everything done just when he's asleep.
More great tips that people can use at least throughout the first year. Kalehoff, executive editor of American Baby, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.